One common thing that remains is when it's a woman talking on screen, I'm not sure if you'll agree, but it's mostly about the woman. It's not about the news. It's mostly about, oh, what is she wearing? Why that lipstick shade? Why is she wearing that top? And I get these comments every day, and I'm like, I have put in so much work and, efforts to create this one story. Focus on the content. So now I've started using that to my advantage where I'm like, I'll make sure I wear something sustainable and you talk about it. Say, for example, if I talk about technology or innovation and startups, people are like, isko kya pata? That thing about a woman not being able to understand numbers, companies, all of that kicks in. And I'm really trying hard to break that.
I love Alia Bhatt for actually re-wearing all the clothes and advocating this that, the circular economy is what we need today. We do not need the linear economy anymore. Gone are the days of the Dadi Maa ki kahaniyan and Nani Maa ke nuskhe for this generation. You have to really present them in a very different way for this generation, and trust me, if this generation starts adapting them, that will become the foundation.
Challenges were not in terms of like getting familiar with this lifestyle and following it over and over. It was creating the right content, because I can talk about composting and recycling and bioenzyme for days on end. But getting people interested into doing that, getting people to actually either make a composter on their own or just start experimenting with it, that was the challenge. So I have rejected more brand collaborations that I have taken up.
Okay.
And I have this like very large template. Whenever a brand reaches out saying that we are sustainable and blah blah, I send them this questionnaire. It's almost like a question paper that I'm sending them, in which I'm asking about the sourcing of their raw material, what packaging they're using, and what employment opportunities are they generating. All of the basic checks all sustainability enthusiasts do. Half the time, people are like, "Kitna tang kariye," and they leave. They leave right off the bat.
Though Poland also went through its own journey from consumerism and really a huge number of plastics and secondary packaging being used for all the products. Right now, I think we are on a very good track because sustainable lifestyles is very in fashion, I would say.
Yes, it's not being perfect about it. It's about if we have like many people living imperfect, sustainable life, that solves a big part of the problem. Box, plastic box. I don't know why it is, but it's there. So there are so many things which are by default coming in a plastic or a cling wrap. That's the worst kind of plastic.
Hello everyone and welcome to Voice of Mosaic. I'm Sonali Semwal, a show where we celebrate sustainability. Today I want to thank you all for your love and support and also for subscribing to our channel Voice of Mosaic. It's a wonderful day and I'm excited because I bring to you episode 1 of Her Green Legacy, Women Leading Change. It's a roundtable talk where we amplify the voices of women pushing for sustainability through their green initiatives with their brand, their content, and influence. I want to introduce to you all the remarkable women that we have today at the table. Let me begin with Navya Singh. She is an inspiring climate action journalist and also a founder of News with Navya. I have with us Ashima Agi, another empowering content creator and advocate of sustainable lifestyle and a social entrepreneur. I also want to welcome Vidhi Adhikari. She is an advocate for zero waste living, content creator that goes by the name Trashy Sisters. And we have with us Swati Mehrotra, who's an award-winning designer and founder of sustainable footwear brand Swati Modo. Ladies, welcome to Her Green Legacy, and going through all your introductions, it already feels like a celebration. How are you all doing?
All super. Great. Excited. Looking forward to a
We're
discussion.
doing the shoot in the morning, so all like good energy and in good spirits.
Yes,
Definitely,
energized.
Super. So very quickly, I would like you all to introduce, and I want to begin with Vidhi Adhikari. Vidhi, trashy sister, which I mean says that your work is truly trashy, but in the best possible way. So can you tell us what Trashy Sister is and what does it stand for?
So Trashy Sister is basically a blog where I talk about all of the things that I do to reduce the trash that I make at home.
Okay.
Specifically single-use trash and single-use plastic. Why do I do that? Because when we talk about climate change, there are many aspects to it. There is pollution, there is industrial waste and all of that. But one very common thing that all of us are doing every day that's contributing to the climate change, it's our trash. So when we mix our wet and dry waste together in a plastic bag and throw it out, it seems like a very innocent and a harmless thing, but it's actually what's reducing the polluting the air. It's something that's polluting our waterways. It's something that's spreading diseases. So just to curb all of that, just to live more mindfully and sustainably, I talk about all of the things that you can do to reduce the trash at home.
I've been following you, and you yourself have a very good following on social space, and I see you very resilient with promoting waste management, zero waste living. You're very young, so what triggered what inspired this in you?
To be very honest, that inspiration story is not that inspirational because it just started with an advertisement that I saw on YouTube one day when I was on my period. It was for a menstrual cup.
Okay.
It's something that got me intrigued, and it had nothing to do with sustainability at the time. It's just I saw this menstrual cup thing. I didn't know what it was, and I thought if I can use this one thing for 10 years, मुझे 10 साल तक pads नहीं खरीदने पड़ेंगे, and that is something that really interested me. So that was the first thing that I did in my sustainability journey without even realizing that I am getting on this path that I'm going to be on for the next 5 or 7 years now. So that's where it started, and then eventually I realized that at home it's my sister as well. My sister really loved making jewelry out of whatever trinkets and trash and that activity box we have at home. So she used to make all of these beaded jewelries for me that I would wear to parties and such. So that's when we decided why not mix these, like put these two ideas together and create something together. So that's why initially the name of the page was Trashy Sisters.
Amazing journey from Trashy Sisters to sisterhood, which is very important for sustainability, and as we have here at the table, I'm moving to Swati. Swati, you had your own journey with your footwear brand. So what is your legacy in the making, if you can just share?
Swati Modo has always, since the time of inception, has been a brand which is for the people, by the people, made by the people who have been losing their art form, who have been losing their legacy, the handmade shoes, the cobblers, the ancient Indian thing. What I really feel when I actually see people making these jutas and losing the charm, and now we only get the imported products. I'm not naming the countries and everything here, but we always want to buy products which are use and throw, very fancy looking on the shelf, and we forget the art of handmade artisans of our country. So that's what actually brought Swati Modo into life, and we give people what they really want. By doing this, we are actually helping in reducing the landfill also. I didn't realize while I was actually starting with the concept, but later on, as I was, creating these products, that gave me an idea, like it is reducing the carbon footprints, reducing the landfill. You are only getting what you want, exactly the color shade that you want, exactly the heel height that you want. So if you're getting everything how you really wanted, nothing can be beyond that. And we are creating a very strong foundation while understanding your body type, while understanding the kind of work you do. So you're getting something which is exclusively for you, and unknowingly you are helping the environment, unknowingly you are helping that karigar and the family, unknowingly you are helping that woman who is doing the embroidery on your product. So we try to, now when I recollect everything, when we are doing these things, I think sustainability is in every human. It is just how you are trying to bring it out. And India has always been a very sustainable country. From the time our mothers used to reuse the jars,
Yes, yes.
चाय का डब्बा फिर से
all have
इस्तेमाल
those
कर
stories.
लेंगे किसी एक बॉटल को फ्लावर वेज बना देंगे सो वी हैव बीन वेरी सस्टेनेबल it was just we were overshadowed by certain thing. I think that gave the inspiration and we started with Swati Modo.
And more on gender equality. I believe you have,
Yes.
run some
That's
campaigns.
exactly.
So
That's
how
what
does
I
your
said.
brand embody that spirit?
That's the thing that I said. Like the women and the men are working under the same environment. I am not saying that the women cannot last a footwear. When you do the lasting, it is supposed to be a very man-made thing because it is tedious. You're pulling the shoe, you're pulling the leather, and etc. So even the women in my factory do that. Even the men are seen, stitching the beads on the juta. So we are doing everything which is very equal. So we try to do a little drive on gender equality. I mean, it's almost like 6 years back that we made all the men walk in the heels. And do the chores what a woman does in the house or in the workspace to understand the pain of a woman. On the contrary, we also made women wear the formal shoes, change the tire of a car, or do the office meeting in certain way a man does. It is very important for us to understand the concept of gender equality.
Absolutely. And the phrase so fits in well that, getting into the shoes.
Getting into the shoes, yeah.
So, because women are juggling so many things.
Correct.
And I mean, you now see the very typical scene is you have, the corporate woman, probably wrapping up things at home, sending kids to the school, getting on to the, in the attire, the
Exactly.
heels, and, So
But it's
what a
not
lovely
even.
story.
It is not even easier to be a man. I mean, imagine the emotional trauma a man goes through. But we always talk about women empowerment. We are not talking about equality. Equality does not mean keeping on the same podium. It means giving the person what they really deserve at the right time. Yes.
Okay, you mentioned something very nice that India has been always sustainable.
Yes.
Now I want to move to Ashima. Ashima, I've been following your journey with advocating on sustainability. You're here to promote sustainable living. So we would like to hear from you. What are what's your message?
So I think I'm going to say a very simple thing. Sustainability is not something, a different lifestyle you have to follow or something you have to quit your things and get into sustainability. The idea is to make it a part of your life and being conscious about your efforts, and it's just being mindful of your actions. It's like if you just give it a thought before doing an action, that solves the job.
But when did this come into you? I believe you've had your corporate career and you've worked with some, MNCs.
So I'll tell you, I can't say that it was sustainability then. It started in COVID times when I think every one of us had a lot of time on reflecting on what we are doing in our individualistic lives and personal lives and how we are contributing towards the environment, contributing towards the family. If I say I've connected with my mother, my father and all the family during the COVID times because we actually got the time to spend with them. And so that's how that was the time in COVID when I became this person who was very conscious of the food I'm eating. I kind of lost 12 to 13 kgs in 6 months, and just with home workouts. No, there was no gyms open then, so just home workouts, eating ghar ka khana, not like a fancy boiled food or nothing, just roti, sabzi, basic food. And even if we are eating like a junk, even if we are eating a pizza, we are making pizza at home because
So
every
did you
restaurant
find
was
comfort
shut.
in that? Because it's not easy to give up a good, successful career, corporate career.
So Zomato, I was working with Zomato for last more than 5 years, but during COVID, I was still working with Zomato. But yes, there was the business slowed down. Everything, we all slowed down. That was how I started with the conscious living. As an individual, I started meditating. I started with the workouts, and I personally become a more conscious person in terms of whatever is going inside my body. So that's how I started a journey where I started living a healthier lifestyle. I can't call it sustainable then, but it was a healthier lifestyle I chose. And then when the offices were resumed, we went back, and it continued with the offices as well, that this is possible. Even if you're going to office, I was still working out in the morning, because then you build a routine.
Yes.
So on similar lines, I was doing fashion content earlier, but I always wanted to share a message with the person to, like with the audience, to repeat your outfits, to style it in how many ways you can do it instead of just overboarding stuff. Because I, as a person, also not an impulsive buyer at all. Even if I'm buying something, I'll think like so many times, I'll never buy anything. I'll like,
So the
"Chal
flip
chodo."
happened gradually
Yes,
for you.
yes. So
You know, I want to I'm probing here because, working, just look at the contrast here. You've worked with a brand such as Zomato for 5 years, and now you're creating yourself as a brand in sustainable lifestyle, which is the content which is not easy to push. It is a niche content. So there has to be, a passion that you align with, a stronger purpose. So you think you have found it with sustainability?
definitely yes, and I think it's contributing to my personal life more than I'm contributing to the targeted audience, because it contributes a lot in your lifestyle. The way things are happening, everything is so circular. Now we feel like people are cribbing about dustbin bhar gaya hai, aaj kachre wala nahi aaya, and we are like, 5 दिन में भी dustbin नहीं भर रहा है. So you're like sorted that way, because everything like 60% is going to the compost. If we talk about the peels and everything, and then the plastics and everything, we keep it like intact so that we can send it to brands like who recycle into upcycled products. So everything is segregated at source. That's like waste management. But what I was talking about is I am more inclined towards sorting the sources so that you don't overconsume. That was the idea where I shifted from fashion content to sustainability content, because I didn't want to communicate that people need to shop more. I want to communicate that people need to repeat and कहते हैं ना कम में काम चलाना. So I think that's the easier way to summarize
working on
sustainability.
lifestyle practice is a behavioral change that you're making.
True.
And then you're talking about how to do it is doing composting and other things that
Yes.
you all are mentioning.
And so I'll tell you, before sustainability with Ashrama, I started my brand, which is Marl Organics. So it's about first distillation essential oils. We come under CSI Aroma Mission. It's a government initiative basically to promote the production of aromatic crops and eco-friendly products. So we make sure that, like, if we see there are a lot of wasteful gifting these days, there's wasteful wedding gifts.
We just saw that during Diwali.
Yeah. So in our case, we make baskets. It's like a wooden basket. There's no plastic wrapping. There's no cling wraps. People call us कि आप इस पे कुछ चढ़ा दो, इसको cover कर दो. I'm like कि I am keeping the basket, which is the wooden basket which you can reuse. And then there are all the products which are all sustainable products. Like we have biodegradable loofahs, which is like a smaller switch everybody should do, because maybe through the Western, and it's not even like about sustainability. Even the plastic loofah is not good for your body. True. So do it for yourself, and I'm sure you will do it for the environment as well.
Navya, over to you. You've had your own amazing journey.
Yeah.
And you're a climate action journalist and you're independent. So please share with us what do you do?
Right. So I think I don't have a very inspiring story as to why I started talking about climate action. But I was with mainstream media. I did my share of political reporting, defense reporting, and all of that. It was a difficult decision to suddenly quit all of that and say that I want to work independently and I want to get, I want to step away from my contacts and networking in the defense sector, in the political sector, and I want to talk about environment.
Okay.
So it was a realization that happened over time. When I was with mainstream media, I understood how environment is not really a focus for them. And back then, even I wasn't really aware about what's happening, right? So it was also the time when media houses covered environment as a weekend thing. That let's talk about it on Saturdays and Sundays because और कुछ नहीं है तो क्या बात करेंगे?
There's no audience for it.
Yeah. So slowly then I started News with Navya in 2022. The intention was to talk about news in detail. Any news, but in detail.
Okay.
So we were initially talking about politics, defense, women's safety, finance, but then eventually we had to narrow down to one thing that stays relevant.
Okay.
And it was a very basic video series that I did on sustainable living, where I had no hard facts or statistics or, good information or anything. What I talked about was solutions.
Okay.
I said, this is what I do, and if it suits you, please follow. So I started talking about how I repurposed my mom's old saris. I cut those saris to make kurtas, dresses, and all of that. And it worked well. Because people said, everybody knows it's doom and gloom, but she's
Yes.
talking about solutions.
Yes.
She's telling us what to do.
Yes.
So then I continued
Rather
on
than
that.
scaring people.
Exactly. And I usually, that's the motto. I stay away from doom and gloom. I stay away from telling people that it's all messed up and, climate change and this and that.
Yes.
I strongly believe that there's so much that people can do,
Yes.
and there's so much that people are already doing. And we need to celebrate those wins. We need to celebrate those efforts. So News with Navya is exactly that. We're a small team of 7 people. We talk about climate action, sustainability. We talk about climate change with a twist. We talk about it with hope and positivity. And we ensure to
amazing. Yes.
celebrate small, big wins happening in India, happening in a particular community or around the world.
So amazing that you understand the subject
Yeah.
and that you've been working on,
Yes.
and you understand what the audience needs. So instead
Absolutely.
of creating, there is a climate crisis. I mean,
Yeah.
it's clear.
Yeah.
But it's important to make noise on the wins and the successes and
Absolutely.
the solutions, and also
Absolutely.
focus on optimism.
That's how you inspire action.
Yes.
That's what I believe.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I've also recently, interviewed you for the
Yes,
magazine,
yes.
and I know, in depth what you do and what all your future projects are.
Yes.
So you are creating a brand, and I'm now moving to the next segment of this roundtable is on startups and green startups.
Yes.
So working with mainstream media to finding your space in climate journalism, where you feel is real, where the real
Correct.
news is.
Correct.
And you creating your brand. You've done over 80 episodes of the Good News show.
Yes, over
right?
90 now, yes.
90.
Yes.
Wow. So, yes. So on Green Startup, how has your journey been?
I
with
think,
pushing for your brand.
yeah.
What have your struggles been or challenges?
So when I started my own, I think one thing, I think a lot of others will also, relate to this is leaving a job and starting your own. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy.
Yes.
So of course I was motivated and I wanted to leave my job and I said, no, I'm not going to do this for anyone else. I'm so motivated and I know what matters. But then salary is the drug that holds you back.
Yes.
So I started my own. That was difficult. That was difficult because eventually what happens is you need a team. You need people to back you up. You need people to support you in different capacities, and then you have to pay them. You have to take care of them. So that's when you need funds, you need a strong system, and it's right from being an employee to becoming an employer, and it's a huge change. And then, of course, other struggles that I think being an entrepreneur or being a woman, I think, is also how people see you on social media. What I've observed since...
I don't understand.
Yeah, so I think ever since I've become a journalist, one common thing that remains is when it's a woman talking on screen, I'm not sure if you'll agree, but it's mostly about the woman. It's not about the news. It's mostly about, oh, what is she wearing? Why that lipstick shade? Why is she wearing that top? And I get these comments every day, and I'm like, I have put in so much work and, efforts to
don't see
create
that.
this one story.
Oh.
Focus on the content. So now I've started using that to my advantage, where I'm like, I'll make sure I wear something sustainable and you talk about it. And that's when you make that a topic of
Amazing.
discussion. So now I talk about why I'm wearing this sari, and this sari belongs to my grandmom or my mom, and I've looked after it for so long, and I'm repurposing the blouse. So then it's a smart conversation. It's a conversation that actually leads to a result or an impact.
Yes.
So I think that is another challenge. And another thing that I've realized is when you talk about environment, sustainability, like soft topics, you're taken seriously. But the moment you talk about, say for example, if I talk about technology or innovation and startups, people are like, isko kya pata? That thing about a woman not being able to understand numbers, companies,
Right.
all of that kicks in. And I'm really trying hard to break that, where I've seen how people who watch my videos, when they sit in the same room as me, they still feel, acha, ye aapko to nahi pata hoga, I'll talk to someone else about it. And I'm like, this is my day-to-day job, and this is
Yes.
what I am doing. So then you have to step in and say, no, I mean, you are aware
a
about
common
this,
fight,
you
I think
know
we all
about
share.
finance, you know how startups function because you're running one. So of course you understand it. So I think there are a lot of interesting things that happen.
Yes, I'm sure.
But what's also beautiful is that all of us have moved past that.
Yes,
So we are embracing it.
So, ladies, this is a round table question. I mean, we all need our we don't have an alma mater where we have come like a sustainability skills we have. So we are all self-educated, self-empowered, and learning in our own journey. So what has been your own starter kit for your brands?
So the idea was to substitute chemicals for my own good and obviously giving people the option because सब लोग बोल देते हैं chemicals are not good and all of that, paraben free ये होना चाहिए वो होना चाहिए, but then you have to also give alternatives because everybody is asking for alternatives. You have to give them a solution.
So
you can't
have
just
to
talk
have
about the problem.
a basket of products and choices.
Like our
for them.
primary business is essential oils.
Okay.
So I myself tried a lot of essential oils first, and then we started with the production of essential oil. It was through the CSIR. It's a Lucknow-based research institute. So we got the basically distillation unit installed through the CSIR. So now it's like an old finance method. Say we distill the essential oils. We have 3 essential oils, and so you can use them for multiple ways. You face wash, skin care. We don't sell products of this. We sell raw essential oils. People can make because I don't want to sell mist when you can make a mist using your own spray bottle and water and just put 2 drops of lemongrass essential oil. Why would I sell a mist?
But Ashma, this is I understand your journey, which is really incredible, on developing your products. So you understand your audience, you understand what all can you offer them. But what about the other things, which are there in a toolkit? Like, what are the kind of resources? There must have been time, ladies, where you feel like, wish I had more funds, maybe I had an investor.
Yeah.
Maybe I had better vendors and collabs and partners. So
I think for my case, I feel there needs to be more awareness about what minimalism is all about. We go to Europe and we really admire the way people are living there. They're so happy, they're at peace, they are always smiling, cheerfully saying good mornings to you. We go to US, people are not that cheerful, they're running. New York, people are running. Bombay, people are hustling. So there has to be some difference what we really see in Europe. And we see people are so happy in Netherlands. They're so enjoying their cafes and the coffees. Why? Because they're not under pressure. I mean, I go to the stores in Europe and, people are not shopping excessively. They are shopping what they really need, what they can really reuse. And even if they're throwing, that is helping the environment in certain way. I think that what you really said is a perfect thing. How we were just discussing Buddha as a way of life. Sustainability is also a way of living, which has been imparted, at least with a generation like mine. We actually grew up, setting the antenna for the dish TV. We don't remember the set box things. We grew up in certain environment where अगर बारिश का मौसम से पहले आंधी आ रही है तो थैली में ही धागा बांध के हम भाग लेंगे and we'll enjoy that feeling of running. We have grown up in that kind of an environment, and with the hustle word, we have forgotten that.
So are you having any challenge in connecting, because you come from that understanding?
Yeah.
Are you having a challenge in connecting with an audience where
yes,
they understand the same thing?
Exactly.
So
that's where the problem comes in. The connection is breaking. The new generation is all about aesthetics. It's all about the grids. It's all about Instagrammable shoes or Instagrammable kapda. I have actually worn this once. How can I really make another one out of it? We still make dresses out of my grandmother's saris, and that has a memory. I love converting them into boots and shoes for the women who come as a memorable things. But the young generation will just use it for one picture on Instagram and they're done and dusted with it. So it gets really difficult. And these are the people who inspire the fashion thing. So it's very important that the right brands and the right community starts talking about it more and more and more. I love Alia Bhatt for actually re-wearing all the clothes and advocating this, that, the circular economy is what we need today. We do not need the linear economy anymore.
And I think you said a very right thing. This influence, yes, we are educators, we are creating content on a lot of sustainability tips and everything life. But when it comes from the Bollywood, it actually influences a lot.
Yes,
so
that's true.
I was watching Jigra, and she was using a bamboo brush. It's a minute thing, maybe nobody kind of see that or like put a highlight on. But I was so happy. Like even if it's like a smaller
so true,
thing,
yes, yeah.
she's using a bamboo brush, and you're like, yeah, I'm done. So because Bollywood is actually trying to do something about
Yes,
it.
that becomes the in thing now. Every youngster would want to go for a bamboo brush. Yeah.
Storytelling is a powerful medium, and we can have interventions where we are projecting something like this, an example of using a bamboo brush, a toothbrush. So how fantastic!
And I think sustainability, people say कि वो trend हो गया.
Because gone are the days of the Dadi maa ki kahaniyan and Nani maa ke nuskhe for this generation. You have to really present them in a very different way for this generation. And trust me, if this generation starts adapting them, that will become the foundation. And even what I really feel is being a mother now, that I was just discussing right now, it is a prerogative of all the new moms also to incept these things in the kids. Like, we grew up learning what we see our mothers doing.
You know what, Swati, I'm going to ask you to hold on here because I'm coming back in the next segment and I'm asking you because you're a parent.
Yeah.
So I'm going to quickly go to who's advocating on zero waste. You share, a lot of things that, on managing plastic waste and bioenzymes. Yeah. Your content is something which, would require somebody to take an absolute flip. It's not easy to start composting. It's not easy to managing plastic waste. So what has your challenges been, or from growing from a small following to a large one? So,
to be very honest, I feel like the challenges were not in terms of getting familiar with this lifestyle and following it over and over. It was creating the right content, because I can talk about composting and recycling and bioenzyme for days on end.
Yes.
But getting people interested into doing that, getting people to actually either make a composter on their own or just start experimenting with fields, that was the challenge. So I try to make my content as relatable as possible. I pick up the pieces of trash that I know might be in everybody's dustbin, like chips ke packet.
Okay.
Yeah, things like that. So I start with that, and that is something that I talk about every time. Start with the thing, because sustainability, it's such a huge thing. There are so many aspects to it. There are so many ways to be sustainable.
Break it down.
Yeah.
Yes,
You don't even have to look at your dustbin for the first few years, maybe, if you're talking about sustainability. There are many ways to do that. So what I suggested, start with the thing that you love the most. For example, if you're somebody who loves experimenting, somebody who's very into science, start with bioenzymes. Start by making your own surface cleaner from your fruit peels, vegetable peels and all of that.
Wow.
If you love gardening, try composting. You don't have to get rid of all of your food waste in one go. Just start with it. Just see that crumbly compost, that first batch that you make. And you kind of realize that it's so therapeutic, to be very honest, especially if you're living in cities. It kind of creates a pause in you the moment you feel.
Yeah, but that's for you, because now you're you're an expert on that. But what is the followers, the people who your audience? What is the engagement? Do they ask you questions? Do they this is too difficult?
Yeah. These are the comments. These are the comments, to be honest, that I live for. More difficult है, because then I go into the thing of इसके लिए easy कैसे बनाऊँ? How do I convince this person that it is actually quite easy? The problem is that people are thinking of it to be difficult because they're aiming for perfection. You don't have to be, because that's how I made it difficult for myself in the beginning as well, because I wanted to get rid of my dustbin within the first year. वो नहीं होगा. You live in an urban setting, everything is packaged in plastic. How can you get rid of the dustbin? And also, there aren't many recycling facilities that take those kind of hard to recycle plastics, right?
Yes, true.
So start slow, give yourself the room to make mistakes, just explore, just do it for the fun of it. The moment your dustbin waste reduces and you see how even the kuda walas are kind of happy because you're not throwing out any smelly, yucky trash, you're taking care of it yourself, it kind of gives you a motivation. Whenever you carry your own thalas to the market, I recently made a reel on this in which sabji wale bhaiyas, they're like, thank you ma'am, aapne thaile lekar aaye. Yeah, they really appreciate that thing.
Yes, I've had my own experience like that.
You did, right?
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
I think everybody does. People who carry their own thalas, they have this story. Kisi ne free nimbu pakda diya tha.
So do you get those videos where people are resharing hey, this is what I've learned and I'm doing it at my home or with the plastic?
Yeah. So I have this album in my gallery titled My Followers, उसमें all the pictures that my followers send across कि विधि मैंने आपकी videos देखे, I started this, I started bioenzyme, but ये समझ नहीं आ रहा, can you please help more over here? I take pictures of all of that just to like remember like how far we have come and how big of a community we have created together.
When I was talking to her very recently, and she's like, "But I'm not a brand. I don't have a brand." I said, "You are making content, and you're pushing that content in a segment where changing a behavior is not easy. So you are working on your own brand, which is promoting for zero waste. And what a difficult topic, really."
Absolutely. I think if I reply as someone who follows Vidhi for her content, I love the consistency.
Okay.
I love how she's not giving up.
Yes.
Right? So for a beginner who's still trying to understand कि यार ये क्या हो रहा है, कैसे करना है, composting क्या है, what do I do with my waste, she is there making content that is very raw and organic. कि ये मेरा घर है, ये मेरे corners है जहाँ पे मैं सारे plastic bags रखती हूँ, Saturdays को मैं ये करती हूँ, Sundays को मैं ये, मुझे याद हो गए scripts. So that's how relatable it is, right?
Absolutely.
So it convinces someone and it makes it look very human and real and doable. That's the magic, I think.
Yes. And you know what I just want to bring to highlight here is that in your own journeys in the future, when your brands are going to grow, you're going to be wanting to have investors coming in, and you want to go and get finance on your own climate or environment issues. So the times are changing. There is a better interest from investors' side, from, there is Startup India, there's Niti Aayog, and there's so many others, both in urban and rural sector where they're pushing women in sustainability. Has there ever been times where you've got eco-fatigue, especially for the two of them, because they are not only demonstrating, but they're also putting that in personal practice, doing the composting, making the videos, sharing the hacks day after, So does it come to you that, you're tired of doing it, or you cannot be doing it 24 hours in a day?
It never comes from my own end that I don't feel to do it, but because you are not just living alone. I live with my mother. So वहाँ पे कई बार challenging हो जाता है when you feel like you're putting a lot of pressure on the other people, other person. अब वो करना चाह रहे हैं नहीं करना चाह रहे, but sometimes I do pressurize a lot, तो वो थोड़ा मुझे लगता है personally कि नहीं करना चाहिए, let her do it on her own. But I think now she's also very much motivated to do it. Now we are switching with I think this was the most difficult part, where we had to switch with the Vim, we had to switch with the Surf Excel, or any kind of detergents or cleaners. वहाँ पे भी किसी कि इसमें तो कोई खुशबू नहीं आ रही है, या इसमें तो कुछ
वो so important,
strong
because
नहीं है.
When you're practicing sustainability, then it comes into your entire domain.
True.
Then it comes into managing water, then the kitchen thing, then where you're shopping from. So somewhere there can be misses, right?
I made a video also on that. She came up with 2 extra poly. That was compostable.
Okay.
But still, I was like, why you got a carry bag? That was the partnered video with the brand. But the idea is to this happens in real also with me, that she sometimes come with another extra plastic bag. और कई बार बहुत चीजें आ जाती है plastic में. For example, if you buy avocados, there's a box, plastic box. I don't know why it is, but it's there. So there are so many things which are by default coming in a plastic or a cling wrap. That's the worst kind of plastic, but you can't avoid it, and that sometimes becomes challenging, that you don't want to put a pressure on the other person.
Vidhi, very quickly, do you have your cheat days?
I want to give a relatable answer, but I don't. I love this thing that I am doing. I love waking up every morning. I have this task list for every day. आज सुबह उठ के compost के ऊपर मिट्टी डालना है for whatever food waste that we dumped yesterday, last night.
Wow.
And then मेरा Wednesday नहीं, मेरा Saturday recycling day होता है. So I have this routine that I have set for myself to make things easier so that it doesn't get into the way of my work. So do I have cheat days? I don't have cheat days. Maybe I get frustrated sometimes जब मम्मी इतना सारा मटर के छिलके डाल देती है एक साथ composter में, and I don't have any other place to dump it.
वो कहीं पर ऐसे भी डाल देते हैं कि कोकोपीट नहीं डाला, चलेगा, ऐसे ही डाल
चलेगा, yeah. These very minute things that I still at the end of the day love doing.
Okay.
So I have never had cheat days, to be very honest.
Wow. So Swati, for you, I said I'll come back to you because you're a parent and you juggling, your business, also getting sustainable practices into your business, and being a mother where you want to push sustainability in your parenting. So how's it for you?
It's very simple. We love sleeping, we love eating, we go and get fresh, we go to work, we study. That's the way of life, right?
True.
Sustainability is also a way of life. If you actually make it a practice from morning till evening in your house, there would be no need of cheat days. As she said, she loves it. There would be no eco fatigue. You don't get tired of sleeping, right? You don't get tired talking to your friends. You don't get tired playing in the park. That's what I'm trying to incept in my kids right now. I mean, they see me that there is only one bottle. Mama would put some peels in this, or some water in this, or some vinegar or sugar or something. She's making something and again washing the dishes. They see it as a practice. They see these capsules which are coming in the market these days, you know, the bioenzyme capsules. I'm putting that, making the phenyl for the house. So this becomes a part of their life. You know, I would make sure I'm collecting all the cardboards and the dabbas that are coming in the courier, cutting them into, for the Christmas right now, cutting them into a Christmas tree and making them paint from the food coloring or the food peels like a beetroot or something like that sort. It becomes unknowingly a part of their own life. They would start seeing the world from that chashma only. That is what I am trying to just do
which
as a
involves,
parent.
you know, actually spending a lot of sustainably quality time with your children.
With your children, yeah, yeah.
It involves a lot of talking, and you know,
Yes.
maybe they must be having 100 questions, or maybe they
See,
will be
right
having
now
their own moods of, you know, not
yeah,
doing
right
it a
now they are
certain
not
way.
in the questionable phase. They are too young to ask me questions. But eventually, I see them getting attracted towards the things that I actually showed them when they were just 1 month old. I started with, self-made flashcards for them to start connecting them to the books. I love how my kids now flip the books, and now how they go, this is a reading time, this is the activity time. So I see that a difference. They are homeschool kids. At least till the time I'm able to sustain that, I will make sure that they are only homeschooled, how we were with our grandparents. So they only have wooden toys. They only have crochet toys. They do not have any battery operated toys that they are playing with. They are playing with the balls in their gallery itself. They are kicking the ball. I'm blessed that they are a set of two, so they are playing within their environment and their reach. They know as a 2-year-old how they have to upkeep their toys. They know this is the car dabba. This is the dabba where we keep our small the wooden dolls that we have. So they take out that box only, they play it and they keep it back. So
You're a lucky mom.
I think, yes, I am a very blessed mom. The way they actually are very calm, touch wood, very calm kids. And, one of the main thing that I really feel that brought in a lot of changing was meditation. The COVID actually made us much calmer.
Drawing from this is, when you're practicing mindfulness, slow living, minimal living, you are becoming more receptive, and you will find options which are eco-friendly, more closer to nature. We've almost, wrapping up this conversation on eco-fatigue. Now it applies more to them, but I want to, quickly hear from Navya that, you are making content on climate and environment. Is there a, point where you feel like, I want to maybe bring in some new and fresh content? Do you have your own fatigue there?
I don't think so. I think it's too early for me to say that I get bored or tired or frustrated because there's so much to do in this space. There's so much to talk about sustainability. When I started News with Navya, a lot of people were of the opinion that one channel dedicated only to climate action, kab tak baat karogi? There's not much. But every day there's a new topic, and when you talk
Did
about
they just say that?
yeah, I mean
People never say that about food.
yeah, exactly, because they think it's endless. Yeah, correct.
Yes.
So even if I, talk about very specific things, say for example, if we run very detailed shows on plastic, on bamboo,
Yes. You
there's
just
so
covered
much
an
to.
amazing series on YouTube. We're working on that,
So when you talk about something like bamboo, there's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about. And it's not because I have that knowledge and I'm sharing that with everyone. I am also learning with my content.
Yes.
So eco-fatigue, not really. But yes, I think what's the beauty of what I'm doing is also how we were discussing our families' journeys. So I live with my family, and I see how when I started talking about climate action, my parents and my family initially were like, "Abhi zyada ho raha hai. Abhi har cheez mein mat bolo." But then, yeah, but now it's a part of their
What family
life.
is for, you know? It's like, you know.
Correct. But
Hello.
a few days ago, I
back.
wanted a plastic bag because I wanted to carry a wet raincoat. And I was like, where else do I keep it? So just give me a chotu plastic bag. And my mom and I, we searched the house और एक नहीं मिला. And I was thrilled.
ये मेरे साथ होता है when people like कि ये लेके जाना है कोई थैली देना कोई ये लेके जाना है and we just can't find any because we
Yeah,
don't
so it's beautiful how everybody's at a very different level in their sustainability journey, but they do understand what we're working for, and they do respect that they don't see it as a job. They don't see it because Navya is a climate action journalist. So
Definitely. You
it's a
need
journey.
more than, you know, you need like a greater passion to drive
Correct.
this. Yes.
So the funny thing that happens at my place is my parents, when they order something like this, even from Amazon or anything, and they'll see the huge, humongous boxes, they'll be like, Navya, is pe story karo. And I'm like,
You know, now I want to come to you again on this, you know, for you because you're a journalist and you know you have a certain, you know, set authority on the subject.
Correct.
Because you're a journalist, so you also have responsibility.
Correct.
Whereas content creators, you know, can have an easy way and they can cover all genres of content under the umbrella of sustainability. So do you yourself draw a line that, you know, this is actual journalism and this is like, you know, what every content creator is doing? But I have a great respect for them because there are a lot of amazing women content creators pushing for sustainability.
Absolutely.
So does it come in, you know, like knock, you know, like I'm a journalist and these are the topics?
I think I try to draw that line in terms of the content I talk about. So the way I talk about something, say for example bamboo, plastic, I talk about it from all perspectives, right? So if I'm telling you that bamboo is great for the environment, I'll tell you about the policies in place, I'll tell you about what the government is doing, what all stakeholders are doing, so that I'm able to present all the facts from all point of views and tell you that this is what I know as a journalist. There are times when I think I'm also looked at as a content creator, also looked at as an influencer. People always feel, Arey, you're not working for a media company, how are you still a journalist? So it's difficult to convince them. But you know, the idea is that I left my job to talk about something that can create an impact. So that label is not something I'm really fighting for.
We have been there, done that. When I initially started my fashion journey, I had like heaps of clothes that I have worn once. Abhi ye chhap gaya hai magazine mein. I can't repeat it for the newspaper. I am going for some social event. I can't really repeat it. I've been there and done that. That's the reason I can really say this. You know, जैसे हमारे बड़े बुजुर्ग कहते थे, हमने धूप में बाल सफ़ेद नहीं किए, experience है. So whatever I am saying today that I'm trying to do for my kids or my company is because of the experience that I have had. I mean, कोई फायदा नहीं है उन पार्टीज में जाके मुआ करके oh my god nice outfit and you know you are just saying inside ये last time भी तो इसने यही पहना था. There is just no point of it. There is just no hush rush for it.
You know, women have all been real, but I think they're becoming more empowering and more impactful because we are changing the narrative from, you know, just fashion and beauty to we talking about
And
climate
you won't
and
believe-
finance and tech.
all women relate to it.
You're at a point where you're not being influenced because you have, you know, amazing things going for yourself and you are rather influencing. And now when you're talking about influencing and also, you know, we'll be talking more on the kind of partnerships we want to bring for pushing sustainability and our own individual agendas. At this point, ladies, I want to welcome our fifth guest. She is also the co-founder of Alma Bakery and Cafe and the venue partner for this show, Bugusha Dhingra. So I want to welcome her. She has had her own amazing journey with sustainability. She has been practicing sustainability in the operations of Cafe and in her own personal life. So Bugusha, welcome to the show. And if you could share with all of us that, you know, how do you practice and celebrate sustainability in Alma Bakery and Cafe?
So, Alma, first of all, welcomes you all here very happily because finally I was talking to Sonali also that finally after, you know, ups and downs, it is a place where we wanted to bring people like you, we wanted to bring voices and we wanted to be a place for community to share those voices, to educate and to learn, of course. Now, the entire concept of our cafe, of Alma, came from this only, that we have a natural bond with greenery, greens, plants, things which are life around us, but somewhere we are losing it, especially in the environment where we are over here, which is an urban environment, and we are in all this, concrete jungle. So we were feeling we were losing it, and we wanted to bring it, however, I mean, as much as we could, how much it is possible. So this is how Alma came to life. We met wonderful people on the journey who shared the concept, who shared the ideas, and helped us to, bring it and build it as you see it today. So today, it is a place which is again in the middle of a concrete jungle, because from right and from left you have big residential complexes. But this is a place where we have more than 400 plants inside, which means that atmospheric, air over here is healthy, and naturally plants, because plants breathe, plants sweat, and they naturally brings the temperature down. So through this, we are trying to control the usage of AC.
That's why the cafe has a very
and,
welcoming, calm and green vibe.
Vibes,
Yes, I just-
So it is also said that because the plants are really alive, they really do sweat, they really do breathe,
Yes.
whatever they, brings to us, they make you feel always in the company. So even if you come to Alma and you are alone, you are having a coffee or you work or whatever you do, you will always feel that there is somebody next to you. Somebody means some good energy is next to you.
Yes.
So that's the vibe which is being built over here. And this is how it started also. We didn't start it with the building and we say we want to have a cafe and we want to have this kind of design. We thought we want to have plants. And then we planned the plants will be here, here, here. And then we started planning around the entire, sitting arrangements and the place. So this is one of the things which
Speaking of that, there is beautiful diversity on the table in terms of genres, in terms of also different regions they come from. And now with you coming from Poland, so I want to know that, you're Polish, how practicing or living sustainability there and in India, do you see a divide or do you see it's just similar? Has it helped your journey in the cafe?
Definitely it helped, though Poland also went through its own journey from, consumerism and really, really a huge number of plastics and, secondary packaging being used for all the products. Right now, I think we are on a very good track because, sustainable lifestyles is very in fashion, I would say.
Yes.
Which is helping actually, because if it's in fashion, that means influencers, younger generation, they keep bringing this as something which is cool and maybe sustainable on its own. Right now in India, we are not really, behind.
Yes.
So places like this with plants, real greens and real plants, not the plastic plants, are many. And you will find a very similar, design and the vibe in many places in Poland at least, and I'm sure in Europe. So I'm very happy about this.
Oh, that's so good. And a little bit more on, in the cafe, whether there are changes you made in the kitchen or in your menu or the kind of training. Yes, the most important part is, having your idea be convinced, with the workforce here. Like,
so what we've done, we have done composting, for example, in our kitchen. So this was the educating the team. There is a Kamba behind me, so you can see it is there. And unless that real compost came, nobody really believed that, from the scrape, from the trash, from this, something can happen.
Yes,
and it really came, and it was really wonderful. Again, there is a person who is, helping us with the plants. I must mention Sujata, who is actually the green thumb behind, our Alma and all these practices as well, who were really, patient about educating all of us.
oh, wow.
Because, you need to see and you need to feel that product which comes and say, wow, I can now put it back in my plants. So
Thanks, Sujata,
this is,
for bringing a sustainable change here.
yeah, so this is
Wonderful.
what is happening. We are doing small steps, but trying to be consistent with them. Like I was mentioning also, we do the cuttings. So on our tables, you will see the bottles, again, something which was
Yes,
used
yes.
with the cuttings. So we transfer cuttings. Then once the roots come, we put them in the plant bed. So we are trying to,
And do you
helping
also
to-
have, because there are a lot of raw materials, in the kitchen, how are you sourcing them? It's an Italian menu. So is everything is imported, or you have, local vendors?
So mostly we have local farmers, local
Okay.
vendors. We are trying to use local
wow.
products. There are products which are imported. Yes, then true, it's true. However, we are trying to, create the tastes and create the dishes in our menu using the local ingredients.
How amazing.
For example,
Yes.
we have a dish which is called Sri Lankan curry,
Okay.
right? And the rice which is used over there is a rice from south of India. It's called Palakadam Mata rice.
Okay.
So we source it from Kerala, and it became, the part of the menu. We use it for risotto as well because it's a very sticky rice.
Oh,
So
wow.
it gives that feeling
Yes.
of risotto, arborio rice. Yeah, there are a few dishes which are from Poland also. So these are also the ingredients are being made here in the
How
traditional
nice.
way.
So you're
This is
conscious. You're conscious of the vendors. What are they
Very
bringing?
much.
Where are you sourcing
Very
all the
much.
produce from?
Very much.
So you're focusing on sustainable partnerships as well.
Absolutely.
And that's the the round table question for all of you ladies, that whether it's generating content or pushing your own other green initiatives, you require collabs and you require partnerships. So what are the kind of partnerships that you're reaching out to, or any inspirations or any stories on that?
I can really very well relate with you because yes, sustainability is a lifestyle that we can follow it for our own self. But when it comes to have a commercial viability, along with training your staff, along with managing it with that peace of mind and mindfulness, it's really a task. It's not that simple because it takes like years to change the way you have been brought up and that thought process. But God has been kind. We got certain kind of people who actually think similar. I think, I'm a kind of a person who believes in energies, and like energies will always attract the like energy. You have to start thinking, at least put that thought
Yes.
that we want to work this ways, and people will start connecting to you first. And you also have to have an attitude of reaching out. When I'm sourcing certain material, like even for that matter of fact, an adhesive or a nail, when I'm sourcing it, I will ask them the question. There are certain nails that are used in the shoe that can be reused also, and there are certain ones that has to be thrown off. So you have to be conscious towards those things. You have to ask questions, and gradually that will come into the practice, and our people will also learn it and adopt them. And that's when the major part of a commercial business comes in. Once you have taught certain people, you have to retain your family.
So, Navya, any stories for you? You said you have a small team of 7 or 8 people. And how aligned are they with your subject? Do you think you have already associated with green partners, or you yet
So
to do
I
that?
think in terms of team news with Navya, when I was looking at creating a team or hiring the right people, it was never about finding journalists or finding reporters or writers. I wanted people who understand what I am doing, who understand sustainability, who feel equally passionate about climate action. Because at the end of the day, most of the stories, even if I'm recording it or I'm anchoring a video, the stories come from my team. They are the one who call me up at 2 a.m. and say, have you heard about this plant? It's actually an invasive species, but it's itna kuch ban raha hai. Let's talk about, fabric that people are making out of this plant and so many other things. So then you know that even though they don't have a degree in journalism or they've not studied media, but they know, they understand climate action, they know what environment is, and they know what are the kind of stories that become a priority eventually at News with Navya. So I think that's really amazing. But apart from the team, I think all the Indian startups, international startups, companies, innovations that we cover and we talk about in this space, we do a thorough research to interact with them and promote them in any way or talk about what they're building. Because again, I think the fact in the space is there's a lot of greenwashing. So everything can look really good and inspiring. But the moment you try and do your background research and you try and understand, is this really that good? Is this really that green? That's when you know it's too good to be true. Maybe there is something wrong. Maybe, but again, I think I've been really fortunate to meet wonderful people in this space, including everyone here, which is exactly why we're sitting here and talking about sustainability. And apart from all the admiration that we have for each other's work, I think what brings us together is our shared understanding of climate action and
Absolutely.
sustainability.
This is a very good, representation of the goal number 17 in the SDGs, which stands for partnership for the rest of the goals.
Yes.
So unless we partner and collab, with each other and also find, the synergies aligned with
Correct.
other partners.
This is a collaborative
yes,
space.
it just makes the work easier and maybe
Yeah.
more happier space. I can say that. So
I mean, it won't be possible without collaboration. It's the same when you talk about this. Now you come here and you will understand why certain things work in the particular way and they are not as perfect as they should be. You know? Like there is water, for example. I'm so sorry. The water. This is also something we are very proud of because it was again the big challenge. But what happens in Noida, water is quite hard. So everywhere we have filters. So basically on the roof we have to have the filtration, huge filtration. So basically you can drink the water from the tap. So that water is used for everything. But can you imagine, you know it very well, how much is rejected water when you are filtering the water?
Absolutely.
It's more than 70% which is rejected. So that water is redirected and we put it back in the tank. And that water we use in the toilet, we use it for watering the plants. And so now when you come back or when you talk to your friends or family, you will understand and now say, I go to this place because of certain practices also.
yes.
So that's that's
And
the story and journey.
you getting them on board with the idea. There is something like a direct partnership where there is an exchange. But you also have an opportunity or partnership where your customers are coming in and they use the washroom and they see the water is recycled. So you educating and they understand and they value and they come back. So there's another side of partnership.
That's one of.
And speaking of partnerships, and collaborations, you two are amazing content creators. I'm sure you must have cross collaborated. So any stories, anything to share?
So I have a series called Saturday Startups where I have like one green business. So every time I reach out to the brand for a collaboration, there are so many times when agencies reach out to you. So my first question is always, I want to connect with the founder. Nobody else, nobody in the team, no one. Because I want to firstly understand the thought process. What was the reason, like why you started? What was the first thought that you started with this? Then obviously we'll talk about the products and what is the sourcing, the supply chain, everything. But for me, it's very important that we talk about the founder's story and what was the person's thought process, because nowadays I feel even the younger generation, like the youth coming up, they relate with the people. They don't relate with the product directly.
Good examples where you are convinced with the founder's
Story.
personal journey.
Yes.
But has there been those experiences where you're not really convinced?
True,
and,
and we are like that's how we are like we
taken
maybe
some hard
figure out
decisions.
something in the future. There are many times when I have to say not interested.
I'm bringing the conversation back to cross collaboration because it has great potential. When you cross collaborating Vidhi, you're also getting into the audience space of
The other
your
person.
collaborator.
Yes.
So you're making your influence, your impact circle is increasing.
True.
So when you had any chances to cross collaborate and
We
also
discussed,
see that,
but we are still.
oh, you both are working.
We are yet to
So what's your
yes.
impact circle as it is, and with cross collaboration, where do you see how many more people or different maybe regions you want to target?
At the moment, I want to collaborate with all of the people that I am constantly in conversation with. It gets a little tricky with all of the work, but yeah, I do want to do that. But up until now, the collaborations that I have done have majorly been like brand collaborations, in which brands reach out with their products. And I personally have realized this, that I have rejected more brand collaborations that I have taken up.
Okay.
And I have this like very large template. Whenever a brand reaches out saying that we are sustainable and blah blah, I send them this questionnaire. It's almost like a question paper that I'm sending them, in which I'm asking about the sourcing of their raw material, what packaging they're using, and what employment opportunities are they generating. All of the basic checks all sustainability enthusiasts do. Half the time, people are like, "Kitna tang kariye," and they leave. They leave right off the bat.
I'm
so
sure that
so my questionnaire kind of works like a preliminary screening. So half the brands that are really into this, I know that they're going to stick around and they'll be willing to answer my questions.
But then you're defining yourself as absolutely committed and a no-nonsense content creator because you have a responsibility with your audience.
Exactly.
So I think that's a big motivation for you.
It is. Sometimes it can get frustrating for brands, not for me, to be honest. Please collaborate. Yeah, but other than that, it's also very interesting because of my questionnaire, I also get to listen to maybe the founder or the CEO, and I get to see their perspective because I'm not a brand, I'm not running a business, so I get to see their side as well. That sustainability is not that black and white for them. Okay. Sometimes using plastic packaging in their production is much more sustainable than using glass because, as we all know, glass is also very energy intensive if you're using virgin glass instead of recycled. Yes. So over the years, as I've collaborated, I've realized that it's not okay to shun it's not okay to see sustainability just like with those, what do you call that? The thing that horses have? Yes. Yeah. It's very different for different people. Yes. It's going to differ depending on the region as well. Yes. So yeah.
I have a question for Gugusha. So this is not regarding the cafe you're running. I generally, in general, with the restaurateurs, you must have a community, and so is there a conversation about sustainability overall within the restaurant business? Because I have seen a lot of people saying Zomato is building trash and other things, where we all know that it's just a delivery business. At the end of the day, it's the responsibility of the restaurateurs and the restaurant to what kind of packaging they're using and the food quality sourcing and everything. So is there a conversation about sustainability within the community of restaurateurs, or it's just like you are doing it for your own for now?
So no, there is always a conversation because this is part of everyday life, and the business community is very concerned. Of course, you cannot change things overnight. And I would not say that, everyone is conscious or everyone wants to be sustainable. And I will not tell you that. That's why we always, try to avoid things that we are organic or sustainable. And it is never 100%. True. That's one. That's definitely in the discussion. And actually, it goes to the levels of government. When you talk about packaging, that's why the policies are being created. So we follow this because this is the only way actually to act as a community. True. Right? So when you talk about packaging and we talk about the practices in the kitchen or practices afterwards and all, now there is another very, very important thing, which is a dialogue with customers. It is never, one-side thing. True. Like whatever I brought to us as examples, if our customers are not understanding what is happening, they will be always unhappy. There will be always the, 1 star on Google and the complaints and all, which happens many times. Now
you
there
need
are
a sustainable handshake.
Absolutely, absolutely. So whatever we are talking here, we are also becoming clients to somebody else, and we need to understand it has to be a dialogue.
In our culture nowadays, packaging is something which defines your product. So you have to be very conscious. It is a step-by-step process. True. It's a trial and error. You might have one good package. I mean, I am trying for that, the boxes of the shoes that actually can last longer. Reusable. You don't have to throw it. But that's not working because everybody has a cabinet or something to actually keep those expensive shoes. That did not work out. I had to discard that. Again, reusable was more expensive than the normal carton boxes. So you have to really keep thinking. It is not that a step to actually judge whether the brand is good or whether the brand is bad on the basis of their packaging, because they have to get the customers. Yes. Eventually, you have to have you have to get the show running. You need to have that moolah coming in. Otherwise, everything will only become like a jargon for us.
Any more questions anybody has for anyone?
I think I have a question for all the ladies here. Because I've been interviewing so many people in this space and I'm trying to look at it from a very critical point of view, there's one thing that I ask everyone is that now that sustainability is, on track to become mainstream, is what we're hoping for.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people are talking about sustainability, climate action. So now a lot of people have entered this space. Some with the intention of actually solving the problem, talking about climate. Some with the intention of making money because now it's profitable. And some with the intention of just figuring out where they belong. So now, in the past 2 years, I've seen a lot of people enter this space just for money. Because now, even if I introduce myself as a sustainability journalist, when I say I have a team, they're like, oh, you're here for money. Ab to bahut paisa hai isme. That's the first reaction.
Sustainability is a big
How
industry.
do you think we'll be able to filter or, just understand how people work in this space, and how do you think collaborations, partnerships, any sort of networking that you do? Because now the conversations are changing. People are talking primarily from the point of view of making money.
Yes.
Do you think the intent takes a back
I
seat?
think there is no point of filtration. Trust me on that, because at least the seed of sustainability is kept. There is a personal benefit of getting money, that's fine. As far as they are happy making money while using the sustainable practices, it is any which way is helping towards the final goal. So there is no point of filtering anyone. If the term sustainability has come into the mind of any individual, please let the crop grow. Let's start supporting the crop.
Sustainability is a industry where you can only sustain in this field if you're coming with the intention of passion. This is not the industry for people with just coming for
You
money.
mean they'll filter out themselves?
Yes,
na?
yes.
या तो they will filter out.
They will
या फिर
not
they will
survive
add more
or like-
value to the thing. So there is
Yes.
no point
Either
sitting
they
on
will
the
become
chair and
sustainable-
filtering this out. Let it happen with its own
But I
self.
think it's, for each their own, because I differ a little bit, because sustainability is the way forward. And if sustainability is making sense. Sustainability business also needs to make sense and needs to really be there and mainstream.
Yes.
Because then it is not just going to be a talk, it is going to be really a culture. And when you say a culture, then culture has its own verticals of, whether it's the behavior or the actions or the businesses, and everybody needs to join hand and come and collaborate, because then only then, sustainable reaches every household, every business, every boardroom. So it needs to be there.
Yes, it has to be profitable. See, we can, as we were discussing, we can't become Auroville living in an urban society. How much I love Auroville, I would love to go and spend maybe a month there. But after that, you would be pulled back to your materialistic world. You have to be honest as a human to your at least own self. You would be pulled back to actually create even a 50% of Auroville in us.
Vidhi, you're talking about bioenzymes and trashy, plastic management, reducing the plastic footprint. Now, if you're pushing that content out, there's somebody sitting and saying, I can make a business out of it. I can have compost bins, and I can have this and that. So
I wanted to say it is very important what you said, that it becomes a culture, it becomes a lifestyle, where it doesn't become, okay, now I will change and I will do something in sustainable way. It becomes a culture, so that means this is your everyday life. So
It's part of your life.
if today I have 1,000 dresses, my lifestyle change and everyone's lifestyle change, and I have only 1 or 2 dresses, and it's also fine.
yes.
Right? So this is what, we cannot, deny that we need to work, because we need some resources and we need to, carry on with our lives. Our children also needs certain things and so on and so forth. So now none of us will end up on charity basis, because it's obvious, right? But that's a culture, that's a lifestyle, and this is where things are falling in place.
Navya, a lot of climate news, a lot of climate topics. One thing that you've not done and you want to cover or explore?
I think more of hope. I don't think I'm there yet. I think I want to bring out more hope that really reaches out to different set of audience, different age groups. I think I'm still where I'm assuming the audience understands sustainability. I want to bring hope to people who are just unaware about what's happening.
So
in the
your
space.
word is hope, and I'm going quickly to Vidhi. If there is, in one day you have like a wish that you want to make a change in somebody's lifestyle, what would that be?
So I don't know one word for this, but I am working on something to make sustainability very, very simple and accessible, just like one-stop shop for all things sustainable.
Amazing.
So I guess that one word would be platform. What I'm working on right now is where that one place, whether it's a blog or a website or whatever,
Yes.
where people come and they find different ways to be sustainable. They get tutorials on it. They also learn about different brands that are working in this space and how they can switch everyday items to more sustainable ones. Everything in one place. So this is like that one big
Yours
thing that I
is going
want
to
to
be
do.
like the manual, the guide.
Yeah, like that guide.
Swati, you're working with your kids, they're very young, but what is the kind of future you imagine for them?
Insightful. Think, act, create, recreate, and just live your life. Be insightful. Whatever you are doing, whatever you are eating, whatever you are speaking, you are leaving some sort of impact on something, either environment or a person. So just think and do the things.
Excellent. Bugusha, you working with your cafe. It's a small community. People come in, enjoy coffee. You're touching their lives. So, from the hospitality point of view, what's the best customer experience, or any experience that you really have, you cherish?
My experience, or
Yes, working with sustainability in your business.
business. I think just be open-minded and be patient. I think this is something which is really something which will help all of us to embrace, to experience, and be happy.
So you're saying practicing all of that. Okay. And over to you, Ashima. You are fairly young in the journey, but a very promising, I would say, journey ahead in content creation. Any project that you're working on, if you can share with us?
In India, if I talk about the market we are working in, we are into essential and other things, but I really want to go into the gifting scenario because I think people spend the most there.
Yes.
In terms of, and it's very wasteful in a way that we are calling it premium, we are calling it luxury packaging and all of that when there are like 3 layers of plastic and 3 layers of everything.
Amazing conversation. All of you all ladies, you come bring very rich content, very rich topics. We have discussed some big concepts, some long-term goals, but most importantly, we have all celebrated sustainability here. I am very thankful to, first of all, Bugusha and her lovely place, Alma Bakery and Cafe, for being the venue host, and also a big thank you for all of you all from coming from, Goa and Karnal and Delhi and
Noida
Swati
itself.
in
I'm
Noida
very
itself.
happy to be in Noida and near Alma now.
So here we are at the very end of our roundtable conversation. We had an amazing, incredible, empowering conversation here, a dialogue that I'm going to personally remember and cherish. And I hope that all of you all will also enjoy and take to the path of sustainability. Sustainability is for everyone and it matters. We've had an amazing journey. We've had 9 episodes of The Voice of Mosaic. We've had a climate optimist, an environmentalist. We've had a green lawyer, a sustainable parenting coach. We've had Blog Man of India, an SDG Man of India, and more. So this is us. We are bringing the voices of sustainability for all of you all to be empowered and get acted on a sustainable lifestyle. So that's from me. I'm your host, Sonali. Until next time. Thank you, everyone.